take 3. God. This is my effectively my third time trying to record this. Because the first one had no audio, and then the second time I was getting too worked up over the failed audio. So, so to reiterate the points that I made, yeah, this arc just keeps winning. We have another. The point count is given another 10 points. It's literally only missing 1 point so far. Don't worry, there will be. I know there's an episode later that will actually piss me off enough um, that I hate. There's an episode of this arc that I actually do dislike completely. So, and that's gonna drop. I think it's actually during the Dark One Cometh. So, that's probably going to drop the Dark One Cometh by, ooh, probably like 2 letter grades. I'm not even joking. Possibly 3, depending on how I feel about it, but regardless. Still. Still. So yeah, to reiterate what I was saying, yeah, I like part 1 in both sub and dub. I like the battle against Yami Bakura, and for the third time this arc, the subs naming conventions are actually better than the dubs, because the dub just makes this a 2-parter. Harder, specifically, meet Bandit King Bakura and Mahad's determination, which I feel like should have been just entitled The Intruder and then Determination. And I still would have had plenty to talk about just within part 1 if the dub had been smart about it. The dub was not smart about it, so here we are. I actually thought about splitting this up, and extending things for another week. I suppose I could keep doing that. So if this video is entitled the if this video is entitled The Intruder Part 1, then I split them up, because I actually had enough to talk about in part between part 1 and part 2. The only time I think I'm ever going to do that, specifically where I know I might do that, is over in GX with Camula, because each of those episodes really should be counted as different. Field of Screams, I want to say it's called. Old. I suppose I could just look it up because I've got it right here. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, oh. Oh, episode 31 through 33 is what that. Yeah, and I'm right. It's Field of Screams, and then it's literally just called. It literally just, the first 2 parts are literally just "This is who's fighting," with a subtitle for part 2, and then for the one in part 2, and then part 3 is called Shining Flare Wingman. Because Japanese titles like to spoil the big surprise. Anyways, but yeah, so Field of Screams is about the only time I think I might do that, where I'm debating where I might do that. Probably what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna see how long I end up talking for with part 1 specifically, and then maybe I'll split it up. We'll see. Because I actually do have a decent amount of stuff to talk about in part 2. So, so they I do like that attempt kind of. So yeah, the gang have been talking to him for 4 years. The gang basically arguing to leave the gang behind is stupid. As I was saying, we also get a number of years, which you might think is the dub fucking up. No, I think I think the pre Exodia Duel stuff being about a year could have actually worked, right? You know, have it be like a year for them to be good friends. Because remember, at the beginning of at the beginning of this show, they're actually already friends. And so a year to get to that point, yeah, I could see that. That actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, hell, the red and white wolves became my best friends within the span of a year. So now, for me to become their ride or die, that took about 3 years, but semantics. Anyways, to get back into it, so Tem is really getting into his role. He's pissed off at Bakura, or he's insulting. He's insulting things. He's treading on sacred ground. He's being a dick. Hick. In the dub, he literally says, "You must be judged by the Millennium items," which is actually kind of awesome. I kind of love that. Um, um, uh, So in the dub, he mocks Seto when Seto tries to shove Diabound into the tablet. In the sub, he just laughs and is like, "Oh, really? I'm going to become a saint just because just because you shoved Diabound into that tablet." Yeah, when Shada said that tablet was too small in both versions, he frickin' meant it. Love that. So then the court starts getting ready to. We then get a cutaway to Kaiba learning that the gang are in Egypt. It's better in the sub because Seto's reasoning for going to Egypt is so much better in the sub because it's the connection with Blue Eyes. Which, let's face it, if anything was going to get Seto Kaiba to go to Egypt, it was Blue Eyes. Let's just be real, you know? He even takes the Blue Eyes jet, funny enough. I don't have anything else to say about Kaiba in this episode, so we're just going to move on. And then we're introduced to one of my favorite gadgets in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not even kidding. The Diadyunk. The ancient Egyptian dual disc. I fucking love that thing. I always forget the name of it because Diadyunk doesn't really roll off the tongue as well as anything, and I don't say it very often. But Diadyunk. I kind of love saying it though. Now that I'm actually saying it out loud, because I didn't say it out loud very often, right? Because it only shows up in this arc, barring a flashback in GX, but I don't even think they even talk about it in GX. So, barring this arc, this is the arc where it gets the most use, and I absolutely love it. There's a reason why that shot of Atem pissed off of activating his Diadyunk is the image I gave Steve to as the template for the thumbnail, because I was like, because I should have mentioned that I wanted like a pissed off expression, but we'll see what Steve comes up with. Obviously, he hasn't finished it from my perspective, but regardless of any of that, what I absolutely love about it is just how fascinated Atem is by this, by the Diadyunk, by them summoning their cause, by Seto getting Karim to invoke fusion. Fusion. I'm witnessing the origin of dual monsters. It's actually really cool. I actually kind of like the dialogue better from Atem in the dub, because in the dub he's like, "I'm witnessing the origin of dual monsters. Oh, this is cool." And in the sub, he's like, "There were duelists in this era. What?" It's so ridiculous because I like the idea that he's exploring the origins of dual monsters as a concept, because this is the dawn of the duel, as in the dawn of the game. like how the gameplay goes, this is the origins of that particular idea. Yes, dual monsters have existed for thousands of years prior to this, but this is the dawn of the idea of dueling, of summoning monsters and fighting each other with it. And I actually kind of like that. Hell, it's why the show is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, right? It's also why the part of the manga that focused on Duelist Kingdom through Battle City was in the manga over here in English was called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist. And then when we got to the World of Memory stuff, we called it Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium World. You know, so. Bakura then also shows off that he grabbed Akhenaten Khaden's corpse, and basically declares that Akhenaten was a tyrant. He created the 7 Millennium items at the cost of Kul Elna. Excuse me. Now in the sub, Akhenaten is like nobody should know. Nobody should. The knowledge of Kul Elna should have been buried ages ago. And in the sub, he says that everybody who knows about that village should be dead. Well, unless say a survivor is now here looking for revenge. I actually do like that in the dub. Bakura's mocking of Item is you'll forgive me if I don't pay tribute to who the kingdom that destroyed my home, which absolutely makes sense. So the court summons their cause. Mahad, of course, summons illusion magician. Keep that in mind for makings of a magician. Which I'm thinking I might, considering how far I am through this, I think I am just going to keep this as one. So there's that. Illusion magician shows up. Seto teams up with him to kind of try and bind him. And the court are basically getting screwed over by Diabound. And then Item is just like, okay, Bakura, fuck this. There's something that you seem to have forgotten, an asshole. I can call the god monsters. And the court are all just like shocked at that. Like, wait, are you referring to the three legendary god monsters? But only the chosen pharaoh. They say in both versions, only the chosen pharaoh could possibly do that. Are you the chosen one? And and then he invokes the powers of ancient Egypt, and he summons Obelisk, the Tormentor. God, and the music is awesome in both versions. So Obelisk goes to attack Diabound, but of course, as we mentioned last time, because Bakura grabbed the power of the of Blue Eyes from the present, isn't isn't he's now a match for Obelisk, and I need to check this thing. Give me a second. Okay, sorry. Needed to look at that. Anyways, where was I? Right. So yeah, the power of Blue Eyes puts him on par with Obelisk. We also get a cameo from Kisara. Nothing to really say about it. It's just keep in mind that girl on that cliff. She will be important later. So then in part two, Bakura ends up coveting the ring. And in both versions, he basically is like yeah, that ring belongs to me, and I'm going to have it back. Blah 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 blah. Right. So then Priest Seto debates with Akhenaten about finding a Ka that can rival the power of the Egyptian gods. Sub Akhenaten is like it doesn't think it's possible, but the more he thinks about it, the more it's like, oh, but yeah, Bakura from Kalelna has like an immeasurable amount of darkness and hatred. So, yeah, maybe it is actually possible. The gang continue to try and find their way to the world of memories. Not much to say there. Meanwhile, Atem is sitting there wondering about his court, specifically if they were just his servants or if they were his friends. The way he phrases it in the Japanese version is, did I understand them and did they understand me?" Right? And that is a very interesting distinction. I prefer the "were they my friends or were they my servants" angle, but that's just me. So then Mahad kind of is like, "You shouldn't be out here all alone." I do like that Atem has to like be like, "Oh, shit, what was his name? What was his name? What was his name?" Him, so that he doesn't like, so that he doesn't insult the poor dude, because he's like, this guy is faithful to me. I can't be an insulting asshole to him. It's actually kind of nice. It's not like they don't overplay it. It's literally just in the sub. It's literally just your silence for a second. Mod. That's it. And then in the dub, we even get a little extra inner monologue to really make it clear that it's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, what's his name? What's his name? What's his name? What's his name? Mahad, that's it. That's it, right? I actually like that. So they go. Mahad goes to escort him back inside because dangerous to be out alone. A stray arrow could hit you. Hit you. It could hit you. After all, Edelgard. Sorry, I had to make that reference. I had to make that reference. Reference. Um, Edelgard and Manuela's support. If you're wondering. Specifically, their highest level support. I could be wrong about that. And I'm not gonna boot up. I'm not gonna boot up three houses just to check. That would be a huge waste of time. Anyways, so then we're introduced to Mana. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna spoil anything about Mahad or Mana just yet. But if you know, you know. And of course, we have to have the antics. She's an apprentice mage, and her magic's not quite up to snuff. I've been practicing. That's why I'm failing to release this paralysis spell. Oh crap! Okay, where was it? Where was it? Where was it? The Japanese version of Mahad is just like, oh, I'll just do it myself. There. I kind of love that. And Atem's just kind of smiling, like, I did have friends. Okay, good. Which is funny. So, also, I do like one other thing in regards to Mana's antics. This is where we learn Atem's name can't be said. They cannot call him Atem in this world of memories. He has to unlock his name to do it, which is why the big strengthening thing is why I stated all the way back in episode 1 why people would be like, why the hell are you spoiling that, Blue Wolf? And it's like, at this point, might as well just call him by that name, because otherwise, you have to stay off of like social media in general. And at this point, I'm just like, no, I'm just going to say it. Now, what learning his name is going to do for Atem, that part I'm not going to spoil. Because it's too damn cool of a moment to spoil. Well, even if it is. Yeah. Anyways, So all the while, Isis is trying to find, Bakura. The Millennium Necklace is not showing her anything, and the others are basically like, "You need to rest. You'll overexhaust yourself." In the sub, they actually talk about how you need to restore your ba. Your ba is effectively your life force, you know? And I just realized that ba and ka, uh, podka, uh, baka. God damn it. I don't know if that was intentional or if that's actually the terminology, but whatever. Ever. So Mahad basically has the determination, haha, to go after to go after uh to go after Bakura. Says that he's going to go secure Akhenaten's tomb. I prefer Priest Zeto's taunts to him in the dub, right? Like, oh yes, we've seen how well yours works before, or perhaps you should, you know, perhaps you need, you know, blah 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 blah. Basically, insults him. In the sub, he heavily implies that effectively he will be removed from the court, or if he fails again, which is, I don't know, which is funny because arguably arguably that doesn't actually happen, does it? But I digress. Hell, he's probably the only member of the court that stays around. Until that stays around completely, when you think about it. But I'm getting way too far ahead of myself. So then Mahad sets out. Mana wants to go with him because you know I need to I need to keep Senpai safe. I'm not I'm not even gonna touch it. You can make your own. You can make your own jokes here. They're all good. Anyways, so then Isis goes before him and basically says, you know, maybe you should rethink this, and neither version of Isis lies. It's when she says, you know, no, in my vision you do return. Earn. In the dub, she says, "Know that in my vision you do return," and in the sub, she says, "You are victorious." So, so then he goes to. He then has a flashback to a snake bite, right, and a Tem getting the poison out, which I have heard doesn't work. That's a bad idea, basically. You know, because you know that used to be an old myth of sucking out the putting your lips on somebody else's wound, sucking out the venom and spitting it out, right? Yeah. Apparently that doesn't work. Not like it does in fiction specifically. Or maybe, you know, maybe immune systems were just better, or maybe immune systems were just better back in the day. I don't know. But then Mahad sets a trap, and Bakura springs the trap, and he ends by saying that he will unleash his Heka powers and defeat Bakura. And it ends with him saying, "I've been waiting for you, Bakura. Let's do this." Ready to face Bakura in a fight. And yeah, as you can determine by the 24-minute time stamp here, yeah, I think I'm going to keep this as one. Which is funny because otherwise that would have just been kind of two short videos, wouldn't it have been? I didn't really have much to say about part two. As much to say about part two as I thought, except I actually am really enjoying this once again. This is yet another good episode. This was another double A. This was another two episodes that get the A rank. Damn good. The obelisk stuff, the Mahad stuff is cool. I like the character stuff with the Tem. It's good stuff. I like Atem as a character, so that's why this is appealing to me personally. So there's that. Another thing that I find interesting about this arc is that I wanted to keep watching. Like I wanted to just keep watching. When Intruder Part 2 and the dub ended, I was so tempted to just watch Makings of a Magician right now. You know, the Intruder Part 3, basically. Right? right? Which is funny because I imagine that would probably be the same for the episode after that, and then the episode after that. You know, probably for the next like 5 episodes that would end up being true. But after that, of course, then you would have the 5-part episode Village of Vengeance, which, I mean, yeah, that's going to be on a different day, obviously. I have no idea if I'm going to get to that in this particular string of days off, but regardless, yeah, that's it for that. Whew. How many episodes into this are we? Hey, hang on. So yeah, we're 5 episodes deep. 5. Hang on. And 5 of effectively 26 episodes, I want to say. Hey, so yeah. 26 episodes. Of 26 episodes, we're 5 in. So we've got about 21 episodes left. Left, I believe. Yeah, 21 episodes left. I'm right. 21 episodes left of the whole show. That's a weird thought. That is definitely a weird thought. Which is funny because didn't I simultaneously remember this arc being shorter and longer, so that's kind of a weird thing. But then again, I suppose that's what happens when you have an arc that's just fun. I should also mention one other thing before I go. I like the pacing of this arc. No, seriously, I like the pacing of this arc. It doesn't feel too slow, but it doesn't feel too fast either. And I think 5 episodes for us to really start getting towards, or it's effectively the big long final battle. Because trust me, that final battle is going to take quite a while. I actually kind of like that, right? Because, like I said, we've got a 5-parter that'll lead us into the final battle. Then we've got a 4-parter that will be the final battle. And in fact, I think the final battle effectively is 6 episodes. Effectively covers 6 episodes. So, yeah, I am extremely happy, with where I am. Do I continue and do Makings of a Magician today? Oh, that is tempting. Oh, that is so tempting. I think I am going to go ahead and just watch the next episode before I edit this because I really like the next episode. Don't be surprised if next week is an S rank. Just saying. Until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. Have a good one. We'll see you next time for the debut of the Dark Magician. Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. Have a good one. Stay tuned.